Right now, one of the biggest tug-of-wars in the smartphone rumor sphere concerns when Samsung intends to introduce the flagship Galaxy S7. There's been this undercurrent that this year's launch could somehow fall earlier than those of previous Galaxy S models, but for every report that says we'll see the phone in the early days of January, there are those pointing to more like late February, far more in line with Samsung's past behavior. The last rumor we looked at was strongly in that later camp, and while today's new theory points a little more strongly to earlier, it falls short of naming a particular date. Evan Blass reports seeing signs of the Galaxy S7 currently undergoing testing at AT&T, where the phone's been showing up as model numbers SM, G930A and SM, G935A, presumably the GS7 and GS7 Edge. And while we don't often get a ton of insight into just how early carriers really start with their tests of upcoming smartphone hardware, this early date is enough to convince Blass that we really could be looking at some degree of early launch. Just how early? Well, that's a lot less certain, and while Blass is willing to admit that this evidence would support an early to mid Q1 debut, he doesn't sound willing to go all out and lend support to the theory that we could see the GS7 debut around the time of CES at the very beginning of January. That said, he's also not throwing weight directly behind the idea of a MWC-timed launch, and we could well see Samsung introduce the phone somewhere in the gap between those trade shows. Any way you slice it, though, we're just a few months away from the Galaxy S7 going official. Get ready to see the leaks and rumors around this guy about to go into overdrive.